You're listening to Were You Still Talking?
We were already started. I didn't know though.
We didn't really start, but we could. I mean, we could have. Hey, welcome back. This is Were You Still Talking? This is Joel Albrecht once again, and today on the Zoomio studio, I have Brad Elder. He is the CEO of Select Title LCC, a licensed attorney in the state of Texas, and a champion captain of the 2022 Chili Dipper. I got to figure out what that is. Brad grew up in Odessa, Texas, where he graduated from Odessa High School. He earned his BBA at the University of Texas of the Permian Basin. MBA, Permian Basin, thank you very much. MBA at Wayland Baptist University and law degree at Texas Wesleyan University Law School. Now Texas A&M Law School. Oh, I didn't realize it changed. Okay. He's an avid.
Bought it out.
I love this part that he writes. He's a writer because you can tell here. He's an avid golfer, read mediocre, and enjoys playing racquetball, hunting, fishing, and a beer or two, not at the same time. Though a sub 500 Little League baseball coach, he's expecting a call from the MLB team any day now. Thanks for coming on the podcast. Welcome in.
Thank you for having me, Joel. I appreciate it very much. Glad to be here.
And so you've never done the racquetball, hunting, fishing, and beer all at the same time.
I'm considering it. You know, I've done golf and beer at the same time, fishing and beer at the same time. Hunting, in case of the game wardens watching, I've never hunted and drank beer at the same time.
Oh, well, that's probably a good thing. Yeah. Fish hooks aren't as dangerous as bullets.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. I'm not saying I haven't enjoyed a couple in the blind, but no, racquetball makes it a little more difficult. But hey, you can do pickleball and drink, so maybe I'll switch my sports.
You sweat it all out, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
Hydration.
So, let's see what I had. That wasn't going to be my first question, but that was my first question. So what kind of law do you practice?
I'm a real estate lawyer, and most people have the same reaction. Oh, okay. It's not the sexiest part of law, but I got into it about, oh, goodness gracious, 16, 17 years ago. Opened a title company, title insurance agency. When you go buy a house, you go close on the house and sign that huge stack of paperwork.
Right.
That's what we are. So not to bore anybody with the details of that industry, but, you have to have, lawyers always involved in that process and for the document preparation, whatnot. So my firm, I don't have a traditional firm. I just do the document preparation for my title company as well. So it's kind of nice when you own the title company and you get to decide which firm does the doc prep work. Well, guess whose firm is going to do it?
It's going to be yours.
Yeah.
Well, I hope you have a lot of assistants to write all those papers out.
I haven't done one personally in a number of years. Others who are way better than me at it handle that.
Do you have any stats about, I know this is very off subject, but do you have any stats about how many homeowners read those? Get through the whole document.
Okay. That's a very good question. No stats. From my history, I would say no one has ever read every single document. You have some who will want to know, usually the early on first-time home buyers and things like that. They'll want to know at least what each one is saying. The best are the guys who buy a bunch of properties, and they know exactly what they're signing. So I would say a closing can take 5 minutes or it can take 4 hours, depending on how many questions are asked. And this is a huge deal for these people. This is a lot of money they're spending, so I don't knock them one bit. But I'm going to say about 2% of the people really get into the ins and outs because it basically boils down to the same thing. If you don't sign these papers, you don't get the house.
Right.
Sorry, not my rules, but so if you want the house, you probably ought to sign it.
It's true, but I've always been, especially the first time, I think I've done it 3 times now on the same house. And pretty blown away the first time, but all 3 times the the loan officers and the title company were really good about explaining what was going on.
Good.
And I said every time, like, well, this time I'm going to take it home and read it.
You did right. You know, what's funny is the stack of papers you're signing. You only need really two things. Well, if you're selling a home with no loan, all you need is a warranty deed, transferring property from one person to the next. That's all you need. But if there's a loan, you'll need a note, a promissory note, and then a deed of trust that's filed at the county clerk's office to put everyone on notice, hey, there's a lien against this property. If they ever try to sell it, we need to get paid.
Right.
Everything else you sign is somebody covering their ass. Somebody's gotten sued over something over the years, so they added a document each time to make sure, acknowledge this, acknowledge this, acknowledge this, acknowledge this. So there's only about 2 or 3 documents in there that you need to transfer property. But, litigious as we are, and there's a lot of money at stake, so everybody's going to cover their ass.
Right. I worked for a nonprofit lawyer for a number of years, not even a law clerk, just as a clerk. And that's where I learned that, most of these things you read, it's because someone was sued. And so I always chuckle when I read long cautionary things on whatever you buy. It's like, right, somebody did this.
Somebody, yes.
It wouldn't be on here if someone didn't do this.
Do not use the hairdryer in the shower.
That's a big one. All of them have to say that.
Don't stick your hand underneath the lawnmower.
Yeah. Don't sit in front of the car when moving.
That's right. Yeah.
It literally says
cover all the bases, right?
The manuals always say anyway.
Yes, turn off the engine, or undo the battery before, or unplug it or whatever.
Unplug it. Well, that was always one I never followed. Back when I don't work on my current cars because, it's a little beyond me. But I worked on cars when I first got them, and every manual anywhere said, unplug the battery first thing. And I may not have done that every time.
Yeah, didn't.
Whatever.
Come on, man. Give me a break.
Happen. I drop a tool on it and it crosses out and shocks a little thing, blows up.
Yeah, a couple of sparks.
Sparks. Catches this rag on fire that I'm sitting next to.
Although I moved into a home. It's been a few years ago now. I'd sold my home and moved into a short-term rental house while my other one was being finished. And I'm not a handy person. Everybody who knows me is going to go, yeah, he's not a handy person. But on the subject of plugging and unplugging things, I was the wiring on my dryer was not, that didn't have the right plug for, so I had to change the wiring on it. You do need to unplug those before you start hooking those back up, because I had pictures of it, a huge burn on my hand, on my finger from it popping when I tried to finagle it. And so I learned real quick. Unplug the dryer.
Yeah, our dryer is 220, so I wouldn't think, I don't even look at it without, if I'm going to move the dryer out of the way and look at the plug, I will turn that breaker.
Yeah, that'll 220 will screw you up too.
Yeah.
That's not like a little plug in the wall.
Yeah, not so much. I was worried. I got a new dryer, I think last year, and I was kind of wondering about, because it was extra money to have the plug replaced. It was like, here's the dryer, but if you want a plug, that's more. And then you should get an electrician to put the plug in. I was like, really? So I looked at it and it was identical to the plug I had and actually did do it. But even just to unplug it and plug the new one in, I shut that off. That was, that's one little part of, and I've seen people, I was in a band where the guitar player was an electrician, and we would go to these different clubs and set up, and we had a ridiculous, it was the 80s. We had quite the setup, and he would do all the wiring without shutting anything off. It always blew my mind, and he was just confident that nothing could hurt him because he knew what he was.
That is either confident or stupid. One of the two.
I always think, okay, go for it. When you're done,
I'll be standing back here.
Yeah, we'll be over here. I'll do this part over here.
Well, if the thing is back in the 80s, if it's something sparked with all the hairspray and
Oh,
his hair was
man.
probably going to go up in flames.
Yeah, we would have been in trouble. That was that was when I acquired my distaste for the smell of Aquanet. Oof.
Oh yeah, I remember my mom used to use Aquanet. 80s music. Sorry, I like to dip nicotine
Oh, no
habit. 80s music. That's right in my wheelhouse. I graduated high school in '88, so all the hair bands just still crank them up and down. And with the news we got yesterday of Ozzie's passing,
Mhm.
Coming home from the golf course yesterday, I had to relive about 6 or 8 Ozzie songs. Coming home and turn them up and you forget what an underrated rock and roll voice he had.
To me, he's one of the best voices,
No question.
in rock, especially that style of rock. I mean, I like. I'm not as big of a heavy metal fan because I came up a little earlier, I think, partly, but that voice, like, there's just no. It was such a shame when they replaced him with Ronnie James Dio, who's also got a good voice, but no one sounds like Ozzie. It's just
no one does.
Wow.
And I started out with War Pigs, which was obviously back in the Black Sabbath days, and then I moved, and which was a little before. I was a little bitty guy when that came out and wasn't following it. Only learned those a little bit later, late teens or so, and then I, filtered over to the things are a little more in my era when he, the guitar was a little more whiny, 80s,
right.
almost ballad-esque, guitars. But man, I had to listen to Mama, I'm Coming Home about 2 or 3 times on the way home. It's so good.
It is really good. I was listening. I do this flight simulator stream where we fly around and I stream live while we fly. And I played a bunch of those songs and I was just like, wow, it's been forever since I've heard these. And that's from Black Sabbath through his latest stuff, which I didn't even realize he was making music in the 90s. But all of it, the musicianship is just phenomenal.
Agreed.
Really
Totally
good.
agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, I go back even prior to the hair bands, and my son, he's 11, and I'm so impressed. So many of the songs from early 80s, mid 80s come on, and he's singing them. I'm like, I'm doing something right in my life.
You're doing, and it kind of amazes me because the songs that I listened to in high school are now on classic rock bands, and they're every bit as big. Like all the kids know those songs still. It blows my mind.
A lot of the guys are touring again on the. I'm not going to call it the old man tour, but a lot of the hair bands, Rat and Def Leppard and Molly. I don't know if Molly Crew's with them or not, but a lot of the bands that you wouldn't expect. Some of the also rans, the one hit wonders or had a couple of hits or whatever. They're touring again on a, and good for them. Hey, they can still, because there's a big group of us who still enjoy that.
Yeah,
and still there's a market for it. Maybe it's not a commercial market, but it's a market that we can all go out and act like we're 22 again and get too drunk and pay for it the next 3 days, and
and it pays their bills.
Yeah, that's right.
We have a county fair that happens a few blocks from us. It's actually happening this week, and that's when when I find out, oh, this band's still alive.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm always like, what?
I didn't know Kix was still making music.
Exactly. There's all the Whitesnake. There's what? What they're doing at fairs, whoever it is.
I'm just hoping Tony Katane doesn't show up with Whitesnake's there.
But then sometimes you find out, oh wait, it's the guitar player. And he must own the name.
Owns the rights to the name.
That's about it. He's got the right to the name. The last amazing band I saw at that fair was, oh God, what's his name? The violin player. His last name's Daniels.
Charlie Daniels?
Charlie Daniels band. And he's got to be in his 80s. And I had never seen him perform. I guess I'd never really even seen videos. Guy was freaking mind-boggling. He sounded the same, absolute master, but he's also like flipping his violin all over the place.
Yeah.
I had no idea. He's like throwing it around. He's not twirling it around his neck, but he's doing all kinds of tricks as he plays that really intricate music. Wow.
Yeah, he was a master at, well, I'm going to not correct you, but you obviously you don't live in Texas or the South. We call them fiddles down here.
You know,
My violin.
I looked that up though, and I found out according to what according to what I could find on the Google Net, the difference between a violin and a fiddle is who's playing it.
You know, I've
It's
often
literally who's
wondered
playing it.
about that. That's right.
It's
Are
what
you
they're Are you playing
the
classical?
style, you know, or
Are
bluegrass or country, or
Right.
you classical,
Yeah.
or what have you. So
That was interesting. So yeah, he plays fiddle because it's even in the song. Come on, I should.
that's right.
He doesn't ask him to play his violin, does he?
No, you can't ask the devil to play a violin.
Oh, so the reason you came on the podcast and sent me this nice note, which I liked, I could tell you were a writer, is you wrote a book.
I did.
You wrote a book. And
I did.
Recoil of Justice. Did I pronounce that?
That's correct. You did. Yes, you did. I've always enjoyed reading thriller books. I don't have a creative writing degree. I've never written anything for anyone else's enjoyment. It was not a bucket list thing of mine. But I was reading a Jack Carr novel, Red Sky Morning, and something occurred to me that I think maybe I can do this. I think I'd like to give this a try.
Mhm.
So after I finished the novel, I picked up my computer and I just started writing, just started writing something. I had a very esoteric plot line in my mind. So I just started, and it's changed, 14 times since then, and the characters have changed and the name has changed and what have you. But I just started writing it and got about 4 chapters in, and I kind of liked what I had written down. I thought this flows pretty nicely, but kind of shelved it for a little bit because I was a little worried that maybe I think it's okay, but others aren't going to think it's okay. So I sent it to a friend of mine who's also an author and a professor of writing, and he was very complimentary, and that gave me the confidence to go forward and try to finish the process. And I took about 9 months after that, and I had what I felt like was a finished product.
Mhm.
But I also knew enough that I might want a second set of eyes on this, someone who's not a friend, someone who's not just going to tell me what I want to hear, and someone with some experience. So I found a freelancer website called readsy.com where all the publishing editors, copy design, cover design, whatever you want, you can go in there and put your bid out and look at other, they will bid on your project. And I had a developmental editor look at it, and oddly enough, I didn't have a finished product. He weird how he didn't just rant and rave over how wonderful it was. Although he was complimentary, there were issues with it. I'm not a writer. I wasn't a writer, and
Right.
and I wasn't at the time. I never constructed a book like this before. And he helped me a great deal. Caused me a lot more work, but it was absolutely for the better. I don't think it was even close to as good of a novel as it is now. It's about 75,000 words, and he took out probably 10,000 words from it. So I'm like, okay, I've got to do. So I added about 15,000 more in, and I think it made it a much, much better story. And he actually just messaged me today because I sent him a signed copy of the book, telling him thank you for I literally could not have done that without him. And then, I figured that, at this point, I'm just going to go get an agent, and, they're going to be clamoring. And then, the publishing contracts are going to be pouring through my door.
Obviously.
And again, oddly enough, that's not the way it worked.
What?
And, I started to ask around, I was lucky enough, my friends have a very good friend who worked for one of the big houses for about 30 years or so in a pretty lofty position. So I felt like she truly knew what she was talking about. And she gave me some sage advice. And she said, I sent her my book. She goes, I do think this is a publishable book. I do. It's just how long are you willing to wait to get it published? And once you find an agent, which is extremely difficult to do, getting a publishing contract is extremely difficult, even more difficult to do. And then from there, you're probably looking at a minimum 2 years, maybe 3 before your book's ever going to hit the shelf. And then you have to get buy-in from not only the person who signed you, You have to get buy-in from the sales department, from the marketing department, and if one doesn't buy in, kind of falls by the wayside. And I'm not a patient person by nature, so I started doing research on self-publishing. My idea of self-publishing was selling books out of the back of your trunk or something. And while, 6 to 8, 10 years ago, people kind of look down their noses at self-publisher or self-published authors. It's a different world now. All you have to do is Google self-publishing and you'll get pages and pages and pages and pages of companies promising you things that many of them cannot deliver. Mm-hmm. All you have to do is send them a check and they're going to make you a New York Times bestseller. Okay. There's a lot of sharks out there. I fell victim to that. I did feel it was not all the money in the world, but I certainly didn't want to spend it if it was going to. It's still playing out. It's playing out very, very slowly, and it's not what I thought I signed up for. How about that? But so I'm not real patient. I figure that somebody else has figured it out. I can figure it out too. Mm-hmm. And I've learned a completely new industry over the last year. I am learning a completely new industry for the last year. I haven't learned. I'm probably scratching the surface at this point, but I know enough to get myself in trouble. But the book published in June, about a little over a month ago. And I live clicking the Amazon update button and I've tried to get away from that this week and go, okay, I'm making myself crazy here to see how many I've sold or see if somebody's left a review. And the follow-up novel is sitting on my desk right now. I was just reading through. I'm about halfway finished with that, and I'd shelved it for about a month, and to work on the marketing of my book. And now I think I've got my system down to where I can kind of start to focus back on my second book, because then I'm going to be as transparent as I can here, because we're just two guys talking, right?
That's right.
It's very difficult to make money with your first book, unless you're, I'm sure President Obama probably made a lot of money from his first book, or an ex-president, or maybe, unless you have a real name attached, or you have a real story to tell that was in the public eye. I didn't. I'm a nobody lawyer from Texas. I'm not known in the writing world, so I'm trying to differentiate myself from the millions and millions of books that are being sold online. So as I'm learning, the real way to get any kind of distribution out there is to have 2 to 3 books. You give your first one away.
Oh, interesting. That's
and then and then you give them the hook. It's a reader magnet, they call it, but you give them the hook. Hey, if you can, after they read your first one, you give it away for free. So you'll hopefully build a readership, bring out your second one. And then with the third one, you kind of give them the hook. Hey, you buy the second one for, $2.99, then you get a deal on the third. So you're kind of grouping it all together. I've spent a lot of money getting some mistakes that I've made, but spent a lot of money getting it to where I am now. But I've never been more excited about a project. I've never been more committed to seeing something through. I think I have a decent amount of talent. A decent amount. I'm not saying I'm John Grisham. I'm certainly not Brad Thor or Harlan Coben, but the feedback I've gotten has been really positive. And some of it, like I said before, I don't want people just to tell me what I want to hear. Right. So when your friends go on, and I'm not gonna lie, some of the reviews are from my friends and family. Of course, they're going to go on and help you out, because reviews are we all live by the Amazon algorithm. If we choose to go through Amazon, live by their algorithm, and reviews is a big part of that. But there's been a number of reviews from people I have no idea who they are, and that's been very uplifting to me to know that I created something out of nothing. And there's people out there saying positive things about it and really, really seemingly enjoyed it. And they didn't have to leave that review, but they did. So that made it, it's a little boost to your ego. I can't lie. There's a little bit of that, but it's also just fulfilling to know that, and I created something and people are enjoying it. So it gives me motivation to keep going.
Oh yeah, that's awesome. And I never thought about, of course, if you write more books, it's going to be more attractive to anyone. And I've had a fair amount of authors on here, a lot of them like yourself, but I've had a few that have sold scripts or worked for magazines and different things. And yeah, there's a lot of stories about you were talking about a publisher could take, months or years if they bought it to actually get it out. Worse things than that could happen too. Because they could buy it and then go, no, we don't want to publish it, but no one else is going to either.
No one else is going to.
We don't want to publish it. It's going to sit here.
Yeah, I've heard about that. Yeah, I've heard about that just on television shows or movies. Yeah, that I watch is some will be bought just to shelve,
which is
for whatever
reason. With pictures, I think, with scripts. I've heard that more than once from people who have written scripts, and a studio will buy it because they don't want they don't really want to make it right now, but then it's locked in for I don't know how long it lasts, but
however long your contract says. Yeah,
right. So I think you actually have an advantage being a lawyer because you probably will read. These things, which is
I'm one of the few that do.
It's important in any industry, but definitely in the entertainment industry. So you have more. The books you're writing, are they the same character? Are they like the same series?
Same character, same series to this point. I have some ideas floating around in my mind that's a completely different character or a completely different storyline. I don't think I need to worry about that right now. I think I need to try and entertain whatever readers I'm lucky enough to have, try to continue the storyline to where maybe they become a fan of my writing, and then maybe I can exercise, stretch my muscles a little bit and introduce something new. Right now, I'm in love with this character. I'm in love with this storyline. I don't know where it's even going to go yet, and that's fun to think about. It's exhausting at times to think about, where it could possibly go. But the good thing about a series is you stick. You're finished with this book. Yeah, you still got the character. You've still got his history. You've still got some of the ancillary characters as well. But you can shift gears and go into a completely different scenario and maybe drag in some ideas that you have into a new book. But you're also, I noticed as I'm writing the second one, I locked myself into a couple of things in the first book that I kind of wish I wouldn't have locked myself into because it's not allowed me to go in this book where I want to go. But that just means you got to be a little more creative and figure out a way to do that with the parameters that I set for myself.
Oh yeah, so you should have gone with sci-fi. Then you can go anywhere in the second.
Just do anything.
You just make something. Oh, this is a different reality now. No, it's a new timeline.
Parallel universe.
Parallel universe.
I couldn't get through one page of writing a sci-fi novel. I'd be terrible at that.
I think it's great that you sat down to write it and it just started flowing out. I mean that's awesome. That's
and I didn't outline anything. A lot of people they say you're either a plotter or a planner or whatever they call it. I don't think I'm creative enough to sit down and write out an outline and see exactly how I want the story to go. I found I'm more creative while I'm being creative. Oh. So it kind of has to flow for me. I didn't know the ending of the book until I wrote it.
Oh, that's fun.
And it just felt like it worked at that point. And so I was kind of surprised as the readers are. Now I did have the benefit of, changing it if I wanted to, but that is the fun part of it. And it's a little more taxing, but because you have to stop and think about which direction you're going to go instead of having a path. I have a general idea where I want to go and a general idea where I want it to end up. You just, the fillers, what's going to make it interesting, the twists and turns, the character arcs. That's where you kind of have to fill in the gaps, but stay true to your character, but also give the reader something new, something a little different. You don't want just a carbon copy of your last book.
So do you set aside every day time to write, or is it more kind of when things come to you?
Yeah, it's when I get in the mode. Like I say, I haven't done anything in about a month. But when I get in the writing mode, I can go a week and I may write 5 or 6 hours a day. And then I may get to a point to where now the thought process of what I wanted to write is through. Now, where exactly do I want to go with it? So I may take 2 or 3 days and almost not write at all, or write something and get rid of it, or just write some oddball storyline to see if it leads me anywhere, and then I can get back in the mode. But usually when I'm in the thick of it, I'll write something every day, unless there's life going on outside of that. I've got a very understanding wife who was okay with me sitting on my couch and not paying attention to her for most of the day. And I work out of my home company that I own. I have excellent people truly running the operation for me, so I don't have to get as involved in the weeds as I used to. So I do have a reasonable amount of spare I call it spare time that I'm not good to just sit around twiddling my thumbs. So and it's too hot to play golf right now. So I try to devote as much time as I can during the day, so I can have the late afternoon, evenings to commit to my family.
And how hot is it?
It's been pretty warm. We haven't had a lot of 100-degree days this year, I will say. Probably a handful. It's been, the last few days, it's been 98, 99, 97. But this time of year, we're very, in the part of Texas I live in, very windy here and breezy.
Oh, okay.
This time of year, the breeze kind of stops, so it can get real stifling when there's no breeze. So you like a little bit of breeze. But yesterday, I played golf pretty much all day yesterday, and I could tell when I woke up this morning. I drink, the way I look at it, there's water and beer, so I'm getting hydrated. It doesn't work that way. It took me 4 or 5 hours this morning to get the feeling where I was a human being again, because I was very dehydrated. And here it's dry. It's not humid like in East Texas or Central or Southeast Texas, where you're just sweating all the time. I don't think you realize how hot you're getting here because it's so dry. As soon as you sweat, it dries because it evaporates. So you don't realize how incredibly hot you really are, and you're getting yourself overheated. And, you'd think after almost 55 years, I would have learned that, but water's just, I can look at 12 ounces of beer and go, that's easy to drink. Look at 12 ounces of water, I'm going, how am I supposed to get that much liquid into my body? That's impossible.
That's really funny. I'm one of the few people, I guess, that I'm really fine with water. I don't mind water at all. I drink a lot of it. Yeah, I got some over here. I did pound it this morning and drink more than I normally do, but I've made a commitment that this time I mean it. I'm going to start drinking more water. I actually did a challenge, not because I really was drinking enough water, but I saw on some social media, I saw all these different people doing this. Actually, the posts I saw, it turned out, were really old, but they were doing this gallon of water a day challenge. And I've always heard, I've read mixed things about it. You don't need a gallon of water a day, but this was more about if you drink a gallon of water a day, what'll happen besides you're going to have to pee all the time. So I did that for a week just to see. And for me, it really wasn't that difficult. The unfortunate thing was it really didn't make a big difference.
Yeah.
It's like my skin is not 10 years younger, and my pains did not disappear. None of this stuff happened.
Clickbait. It's just clickbait, I'm sure.
It was. Well, maybe it's different. I think it was always women doing this challenge. Maybe it's different for women. I don't know. But also I drink a fair amount. Like I only increased about 3 glasses a day.
Okay, yeah. So maybe your body was already accustomed to almost. It was fair.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. I mean, I could tell it was more because I definitely had to. It had to drain out a lot.
Yes, sir.
Which is good. That alone is good for you to try for
sure. And I say I do. I have I think it's 34-ounce, 36-ounce bottle of water that I take to work out every morning, and I always empty that. And then in the evenings, when it gets to about 7 or 8, I start drinking water again. I always drink my entire glass every night. So, while I'm, sleep, I'll wake up and drink it. So I do have a
Oh yeah,
fair amount,
You're
but
getting enough.
just during the middle of the day, I prefer, being from the South, I prefer iced tea, and it just tastes better, I guess.
Oh yeah. Well, it's got sugar in it, so why wouldn't you?
Right. Yeah, it's sweet. So, well, it's artificial sweetener, which is probably worse for you than real sugar, but it didn't have the calories. So, I'm
That's
vain.
true. Doesn't have the calories. It's I don't know. It's a toss up.
It is.
Yeah. It's another challenge I did for myself is quitting sugar, and that was harder than anything. But I don't really I don't smoke or drink or anything.
No. Okay.
And that was not that. That's never been that difficult for me. But quitting sugar, that was a challenge. That was,
Yeah.
I went,
My brother.
I went 30 days
Oh
trying
my
to
gosh.
eat less than 5 grams of sugar in a serving.
And that's challenging because so many things have sugar in it.
I mean, if you don't want it to be a challenge, you eat food from the garden and maybe
Right.
some meat or whatever.
Yeah.
Then it's not a challenge. But yeah,
And it's
try
not.
doing
It's
that
the
for 30
processed
days.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
My brother, he had given up drinking and nicotine a few years ago. And he said quitting drinking was a breeze compared to nicotine.
That's what I've heard over and over and over. And I'll be totally honest. The most successful people I know that have stopped smoking from the time I was a kid have just said, okay, I need to stop. And they stopped.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people who've done the patch and the gum, and they're
Yeah.
like, maybe it's because you're still giving yourself what you're addicted to. And
Right.
eventually they're just like, oh, it's like, and
Yeah.
Then, yeah.
It's in a lot of that situational too. I didn't start dipping until I was 48 years old. No one does that.
wow.
And I don't smoke. I've never smoked in my life.
Uh-huh.
Never had any desire for nicotine whatsoever. I was going through a divorce at the time. And I was playing golf with a friend of mine. And, I just had this attitude that, fuck it. I mean, okay, yeah, give me one of those things. And put it in my mouth. And about 15 seconds later, I was standing with my hand on the cart. My head was spinning. I'm like, I don't think it tasted really good. I took it out and set it aside. And then 30 minutes later or so, I put it back in, and these taste pretty good. And each time I could leave it in for a little longer. So then I was getting to where I went and bought a pack of the little pouches. Now I was doing about one a day, just for a little flavor.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I mean, you're done at that point, unless you can just say, no, I'm not doing that anymore. It's inevitable. You'll crease a little bit. Well, I'll just have 2. Yeah, maybe I'll do one after dinner too. And then you have one in your mouth all day long.
Right.
And it's
Right.
quite difficult to stop. And it's upsetting because I try to stay in good health, and I try to really watch for what I eat, try to exercise every single day, and wearing my, this little Whoop band that, tells you your biometrics.
Mm-hmm.
My resting heart rate is without question higher than it used to be because of the nicotine.
Oh, just because of the nicotine.
And
Yeah.
you get a little older, and obviously those kind of things are going to happen, but it's because of the nicotine, and I'm mad at myself for doing it, but I'm embarrassed to say I'm addicted to it, but I am. But there's only one person who can stop. That's me.
It's true. It's true. That's a good attitude. It's a good thing to know. Because people can help you with the process.
Sure.
But you're right. It's got to be a decision. I've known plenty of people, addicted to different things. I knew one heroin addict in my life, and he wasn't at the time, but he told me he got through medical school. He was a veterinary doctor, and he had gotten through medical school on heroin. And I was like, what? He said, well, the reason was after the first time, it really was just making me feel normal. I wasn't getting anything out of it. Like, he wasn't getting the effects that we all see when you watch a TV show and they put heroin in their arm. You always see the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Always the same. Exactly. So you've had the same acting coach.
Yeah. You've all watched Breaking Bad or The Wire, right?
Exactly. And it's, but he said the same thing. He said the hardest thing I ever quit was cigarettes, as he pulled out a cigarette,
Yeah, right. One line on a movie that I loved is a Western. They're sitting in the bar, and this jovial guy's leaning over the bar with a drink in his hand, looking at it, and he goes, "Every time I start drinking again, I always wonder why I quit in the first place."
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of the show I wanted to ask you about. If you've seen Landman, have you ever seen Landman?
Oh, it's phenomenal.
Show? Okay. Because aren't you from
So good.
kind of that area?
Yeah, it takes place in it takes place in Midland, Texas. I grew up in Odessa, which is the sister city that they kind of make fun of on Landman, which and for good reason.
Uh-huh.
Odessa and Midland are the oil and gas production capital of Texas, and I mean really probably the most productive in the nation. Really is now they've started to Alaska obviously, and some up in Pennsylvania and whatnot, but North Dakota has a bunch as well. But Permian Basin has been around since oil was first. They got able to figure out how to get oil out of the ground.
Right.
It's been a producing patch for 100 years or better. So
I think in one of the speeches he goes into that. He has a lot of good dialogues there, but I see why he smokes.
He wouldn't look right if he didn't smoke.
No, it wouldn't look right, and he's under a little stress. Isn't he trying?
Yeah,
it seems like he's trying to quit at one point for about 2 minutes.
Yeah. Well, when the cartel guys have a hood over your head and are beating you half to death, I guess that would cause anybody.
Oh, right. That's the beginning of the show. If you've never seen Landman and you're listening to this, don't worry. We're not giving anything away.
No, it's just the first 2 minutes, and it just gets better from there.
Yeah. I was
Sheridan could sure make a show.
Yeah. See, I'm not a fan of Yellowstone, so I thought.
Oh, really?
I'm not really, and I can't remember why because Billy Bob Thornton. I'm a big fan of Billy Bob Thornton, and I thought, well, what is this like? And I didn't actually realize he wrote it. I thought I saw that it was his show, but I didn't know he wrote it and directed it, and he must be an incredible workaholic. And I was blown away. So I've watched everything now except Yellowstone. It's not wild about the characters of Yellowstone, but everything else. I've watched 2020,
Lioness,
1923. I've watched
1923 is great.
73.
Yeah. I think he's a real talent. Say what you want. People say certain things about him, but he's an incredible talent.
He's an amazing writer. And I saw a special where he actually takes the actors and teaches them how to ride for all these different shows where there's horses. And I thought, well, that's kind of cool. It's not because
you're not hiring specialists, you can do it.
Yeah, you can. Why not? And in the days of Westerns, when I was growing up and watching all of the Gunsmokes and not Little House on the Prairie, but Bonanza and all these things, everyone rode.
Yeah, and looked like they knew what they're doing.
You couldn't not know what you were doing.
That's right.
You wanted the role, you rode a horse,
That's right. I mean, could you imagine a man named Hoss Cartwright not being able to ride a horse?
Exactly. And maybe he didn't, honestly, he could have lied for that first week of shooting. Oh yeah, I can ride a horse. You bet.
Yeah. He is a Texas kid. He grew up right down the road here.
Yeah.
About half an hour from here. And, I'm from Texas. I'd fall off the horse.
Oh, would you? I haven't.
I own one pair of boots.
Yeah. I've ridden my whole life in short bursts. I can't remember the first horses I rode, but I rode when I was pretty young. And then my cousin had horses for a long time, so I would go there and ride them. And I always kind of took to it, at least in a Western saddle, as long as it was a saddle that looked like a Western.
Yeah, right.
And they used to put me on his biggest horse because I was bigger than anyone else who would be riding, and I always did fine. That horse,
they can be
mean, but he wasn't.
Well, he must have liked you.
He must.
They they can be very intimidating.
Yeah.
Animals are. I mean, they're huge.
Well, they're huge.
And, yeah, and strong and fast and can move so fast. We were. I was on an elk hunt in Canada about 15 years ago or so, and I don't have a lot of experience on horses. I rode them as a kid, like in the resort towns,
Right.
where they're leading you around by all in a circle or something. But so we're packing this horse, and we have guns in our scabbards, and we're riding up mountains on a horse, and something scared my horse, and it jerked and started backing up, and my first thought was, I got to slow it down. So I pulled back on the reins. Well, that just made him back up even more. And it kind of startled me. I'm not gonna lie to you. It startled me pretty good, but it doesn't take a long time. After a couple of days on it, you start getting a lot more comfortable with, it'll allow you to guide it.
Right.
And these were good horses, and, obviously they're used to people being on their back. But there's some situations where I'm going, I'm not good on this horse, and if he jumps again, that's a long drop over there. I may not make it home in one piece. So, but overall, it was fantastic. But I was very intimidated to start with. The guys were like, "You're from Texas, you know how to do this." I'm like, I don't own a cowboy hat. I own one pair of boots that I never wear. I ride a bike.
Well, there you go. I could send you a cowboy hat.
Yeah. I've tried them on before. I look like I'm wearing a dunce cap.
I don't like hats much, but I look good. Anybody looks good in a cowboy hat. I don't really care. It's
maybe I'm a little too critical.
not that I'm a cowboy, but we were riding my cousin's horses one time, and just around his pasture, basically. And my cousin, who rides about as much as me or less, she was riding the smaller horse, and this horse was like, I don't want you on my back anymore. So it just went towards this, and he knew that she was not familiar with horses. So it just went towards this tree and just went right under this branch and brushed her right off. It's like, oh no, she didn't know what to do.
Holy
it's like, just stop
yeah,
it. Stop. No.
Yeah, stop it, but grab onto the branch.
It hurt, or grab the branch. Yeah. And
yeah.
Luckily it was when we were younger and she was okay, but that was just like, the horse is taking charge.
Yeah, they're certainly smart.
What to do? Yeah, they're very smart, and I also worked in L.A. I worked at the airport. This was a strange job. I probably would have kept it longer, but the owners were not very nice. I worked for this place that handled pets when they came off the plane. So most pets had to be quarantined for a week or more, dependent. So a lot of cats and dogs. They were. It must have been if they came from other countries, because you can fly.
Yeah, you can fly with
You
animals.
can fly around in the U.S. So they must have been coming from out of the country. So there was always a dozen or so cats and dogs, but their big business was horses, and the horses that they fly around are race horses.
Right.
That's what you get. So we would get these horses. It was just a nutty job. We would go to the FedEx terminal, and we would pick these horses up off. Their trainer would bring it down and put it into the trailer because it had to be quarantined. And it's a racehorse. I don't know if you've ever been around a racehorse, but they are.
Yeah, I've seen.
They're high strung because they want to run. They don't like standing around. So they've been standing around for 24 hours in a jet, probably not sleeping, because they're in a 747, and they put them in this trailer, and then we take them back, and okay, now we're going to take them out of the trailer. Oh, well, where's the trainer? No, he's not here.
Oh my goodness.
One of us has to take them out, and they just thought that me being the new guy, let's find out what happens if we send him in. And I remember going to this horse, big old race horse, and just backing it right out of the trailer, and it was fine. And they all were staring at me like, "Oh my God, we thought it was going to." I couldn't believe that I did it, but I didn't know any better. I think was it.
If anyone's ever seen a racehorse up close, it's like looking at the difference between a normal person and a NFL athlete. Just the muscles and the veins, and they're walking so lightly on their feet, and they're absolute athletes, and very, very quick, and many times ill-tempered.
Pretty pretty nuts. They're kind. I think they're bred that way because they're just bred to run. And
Right.
I mean, they're beautiful animals. They're beautiful animals. But the
Gorgeous.
other thing, yeah. And they have a lot of problems. So they would need immediate vet care when they got off to make sure that
Right.
the stress didn't cause stomach issues or that standing there didn't hurt their feet. And,
Yeah, they're so high bred. I guess they
Yeah.
comes with issues too,
Yeah.
and they're not cheap.
No,
Not just to buy, but to maintain. Good
I
Lord,
don't think they are.
that's a rich man's game.
Yeah. And the owners were never happy because, they didn't want their horse to go into quarantine. So
Right.
they were always pretty grumpy to come out there and, where's my horse? How's my horse doing?
He's got a race in 2 days. Get him out of
Exactly. He better be perfect when he gets out of here.
here.
Yeah, we know.
That's
So-
why we have an insurance policy.
So what is a chili dipper? Just going all the way
Okay.
back to my intro.
That was one I threw it in there for my buddies who go to the Chili Dipper with me. It's a golf tournament. 20 of us
okay.
get together every single year.
Awesome.
It's a fun time with guys, and we play a Ryder Cup style tournament. There's two new captains every year, and you pick your team. So there's different teams every year, and it's just close friends who go to a different location, somewhere in the country, to a great resort, great golf courses, and we play our Chili Dipper tournament. And I happen to be the captain of the year I won. And I threw that in there maybe to make people go, "What is that?" Or for my buddies that go, "Aha!"
It was.
So it's literally nothing, just a bunch of drunken idiots getting together playing golf.
Sounds fun. Have you been to Oregon to play?
I have not. I really want to go. Bandon is on my bucket list. Right now it's a 3-year wait.
See, right there is so interesting. It wasn't. It became that way recently. So I would say in the last 20 years, I'd never really heard of golf in Bandon. I knew Bandon existed, but we one of our plane trips. Some of the people sitting next to us were like, "Yeah, we're going to Bandon. We're going to play golf in Bandon." I'm like, "Really? Why?" I looked it up and I'm like, "Oh, okay, I see."
They have, I believe, 5 courses there now, and top-notch designers. And it's just the destination really for serious golfers, for people who love golf to go. And everybody asks the same question: "Have you been to Bandon? Have you been to Bandon?" And no, I have not. I've played some great courses. Played Pebble a few times, and Spyglass, and Whistling Straits, and we're going to Kiowa this year. So we've played some really, really great places. But Bandon's one of those. A lot of my friends that go on this trip are from the Pittsburgh area.
Mm-hmm.
It's a day's travel. I mean, because
Yes, it is.
unless you're flying
If you're
private,
lucky,
you
right?
can't. That's right.
If you're lucky.
And unless you're flying private, you can't get anywhere. I mean, you're flying into
I'm going
San Francisco, then to maybe Eugene or something
Right.
like that, and then Portland, and driving.
I'm going to Chicago this year, and I keep looking at flights every couple of months. I have a cousin reunion in Chicago, and
Mhm.
that should be a 5.5-hour flight. Or less, but minimum 7 hours if everything goes well. It's one of those things because I live in Eugene, so
Oh, you do? Okay.
I do. So it's you would think there would be more direct flights to places, but I have to go to Portland, which I would be happy to do because they just got rated the #1 airport in the country.
Really?
They did. Yeah, blew my
about
mind.
that?
Said so in the Oregonian. They just got through remodeling it, I think, last year, and it's gorgeous. So
And the
something about it.
Oregonian elected them
The
#1
Oregonian.
airport.
It wasn't from. They just announced it. It was USA Today or something. It was a bigger publication. That's what
Okay.
I thought. I'm like, wait, the Oregonian saying it's the #1. Wow.
Wow. Kudos.
Yeah, way to go. But if you go to Bandon, just remember to be sure you go in September because that's when. No, that's probably not a surefire thing anyway. Maybe go in August because then you'll. No, that won't work.
Can never tell. That's what they say. It's hit or miss on the weather.
Yeah, it's the Oregon coast.
Yeah.
It can be amazing, and it'll be amazing like in the end of September, early October sometimes. or it can be 60-mile-an-hour windstorm, which is not a storm there. 60-mile-an-hour wind. It's today.
Breeze.
Yeah,
it's today.
It's Wednesday.
Yeah, right. That's right. And I know that one of the reasons, obviously, they picked that it's on the coast, but it's truly an Ireland, Scotland style weather, links courses,
right?
Topography. It's the closest. From what I hear, it's the closest thing you'll get to playing in Great Britain and still be in the United States.
Oh, that makes sense because it does look like that. I mean, this whole side of Oregon, we do have 2/3 of Oregon are desert, but this side of Oregon it really reminds me of whenever I see people going out Scotland or Ireland. It's very similar. It's very much like that.
It's funny how I'm sorry to butt in there. It's funny how the northwestern states or the western states, we think about, like I think of Wyoming and I think of the Tetons and I think of just incredible beauty, Sierra beauty.
Mm-hmm.
I drove across Wyoming and I'm not so sure we went to the moon. I think we landed the spacecraft in Wyoming and videoed it. I mean, it's 90% of it is absolutely desolate. Well, just like Eastern California can be. Central in southern Eastern California, desolate. I mean, it's awful.
Eastern California and Eastern Oregon should be part of the same desert. I believe they have different names, so they're different deserts, but they're very similar. Very similar. If you drive from my house and go east, after you get out of Bend, there's this long, I think it's 3 hours, where there is nothing. There's just nothing between that part of Oregon and Idaho. And so and it's literally, there's part of it. I've only driven this once or twice, and there's a section that's straight. It's just a straight road through the desert. So there's not even turns to keep you awake. It's just,
well, there's nothing to go around, I guess.
Nothing. Yeah,
just straight.
Exactly. I'm surprised they haven't raised the speed limit. There's roads like that in Montana where they made the speed limit 80 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, it's just open country. I drove across, drove across Wyoming, Montana, into Canada, and then back. And there's places there. There were really bad fires when we were coming back through either Idaho or I think it was Wyoming. I drove and it was a little eerie. They had closed. I didn't realize they had just opened the road up that I was on. They had to close while I was going down it, but right before I got to this town, they'd opened it up, or I was going to have to turn around and drive back. I drove 3.5 hours at night and didn't see a single car.
Oh,
and it was just a dead straight road. And I'm like, after about an hour, I'm going, because I knew there were fires everywhere. I'm like, I wonder if we're driving into something we probably shouldn't be driving into. And and I looked at the map back in the days when there were paper maps. I'm like, there's literally nothing. There's no tributaries coming off, nothing. So we got lucky though and found the last room in the.
It's so funny that we say that now. I mean, everyone says that. Back in the days when there were paper maps, that was like 12 years ago.
It's not that long ago.
It really wasn't that long ago. 20 years ago, the iPhone came out. 20 years ago. It's so changed now, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, people that are under 20 they have no concept of what's different.
I still like, and I'm not saying I have one. I enjoy a map in front of me, so I can kind of tell where. With the GPS, you just have this little screenshot of where you are.
Right.
A lot of times I'll zoom out because I like to know about where I am in a new location. Hey, I'm in Eastern Oregon. I'm not in Western Oregon. I'm moving into Central Oregon. I like to know where I am in the world or where I am in my location, not just keep going down this road and then at the next left, take a left, kind of.
Right.
So I enjoyed using a map back in the day, and I got fancy and got the laminated ones. So you can fold it into a nice little rectangle and see where you're going and then unfold it. So you're not,
flipping it over,
taking the paper map and like your parents in the front seat arguing with one another because your mom may not be able to read a map real well and your dad's thinking she should be what is that? What are those map makers? Not a cartologist. I can't remember what they're even called now, but demanding that she be a PhD in that. And you know, after a few days on vacation, they're at each other's throats. But yeah, so I got smart and got one of those. But yeah, GPS makes it. I mean, I rely on it too. And if I'm in a city, you know, it's not the Maps Co anymore where you're flipping like, where's this street? And you got to go to this section, this quadrant, this page. It kind of makes you lazy. But,
and even the early days of the digital maps, we printed them out from MapQuest.
Oh yeah, print them. Yeah, absolutely.
You find out where you're going, and you print out the map from MapQuest. And wait,
right.
No, that's not big enough. I'm going to need a page 2 or something.
Right. I went from page 3 to page 5. I forgot about page 4.
Yeah, exactly. Oh man, I kind of forgot about that already. That's crazy. I've always loved maps. I've always been something about maps. I've always loved them. But yeah, we would pull over to look at a map. If you're by yourself, like you have no choice. You got to pull over and look at the map and see. Now
stretch your legs a little bit.
Yeah, exactly.
Put it down on the hood. Stretch your legs and see where you're going. I still remember. It's my mom probably still has it. My dad had an atlas, a U.S. atlas, and he would study that atlas just on random nights. I'd look over and he'd get a magnifying. He would refuse to get reading glass. He didn't need reading glasses. He had magnifying glass. He would be looking through his magnifying glass, and he wasn't even that old. Had his atlas, just seeing where things were. And I'm like, "What are you doing?" He goes, "Don't you ever want to know where you're at in the world?" I'm like, "Yeah, I get." And it kind of started to open my mind and interest me a little bit. Yeah, like where the heck are we? Because my daughter now, she's almost 22, and my son's 11, and they don't. Both did extremely well in school and do extremely well in school. But geography I just don't think it's taught in school anymore. They have no idea what state's what or where they are in our state, or, he's been asking questions like, okay, now, so where exactly are we? I'm like, buddy, this is simple Simon stuff.
You've got a phone.
Yeah, right. If only there's a way to find out, pick up your maps app.
Well, I kind of remember learning in geography. I mean, this was some years ago, but we learned almost everything about almost everywhere else. I don't remember learning much about the U.S. We learned about the U.S. in civics class, which they don't have anymore, and that kind of
no, they don't.
My mind. But we learned about maps-wise. We learned about other countries and kind of, there's Italy shaped like a boot and all this stuff.
Like a boot, right?
Like a boot, and not so much about U.S., Canada, Mexico, just not as much about that. And I really find it fascinating now when we can lay the map over the satellite map and go, see, this is the reality. This is how things are really. Like the U.S. is massive, but compared to other countries, it's much smaller than we think.
That's right.
That's from the U.S. It's like, wow.
Yeah, look at Russia or look at I mean, even India is huge. It's not as big as the United States, but Canada's way bigger than the United States.
Canada's huge. Mexico, Australia. It's like, whoa. Some countries in Africa. Africa's not even what, a lot of us might think of it as a country.
It's not a country. Continent. And what surprised me as I got a little older is the east coast of the United States lines up with the west coast. The east coast of North America lines up with the west coast of South America. You don't realize how far over it comes. You think it's just straight down. Yeah. It's not, because Mexico has the big tail on it, and then Central America, and then it's because you think of like Chile and Peru is being just south of us. Oh no, it's way southeast of where Texas lies anyway. So
Right.
It's interesting to get out. A globe helps with that too. An actual globe.
Yeah. If you think about going I've looked at sometimes making travel plans that I may never do, but I'm like, what if where they have me fly to Florida and then down to these South American countries, and I'm like, well, why would I? Oh, it's not very far from Florida.
That's right.
It's right there.
Exactly right.
That is so bizarre. Yeah, it's interesting.
It's an odd feeling. It's an odd feeling going over the ocean like that, leaving Florida or whatever. And I'm like, I've flown 3 hours and I haven't seen a speck of land anywhere. And then I think, where's that Bermuda Triangle again? Should have paid attention that day.
We go to Hawaii every year because I really love Hawaii, and it's closer for us than anyone east of us. So that is a crazy flight. Because once you leave, we have to go to San Francisco or Seattle. But once you leave that, it's like that's it. You're over the
That's it.
ocean. There's nothing
For a long time.
for a long time, for 5 or 6 hours, depending on the route they take, because they always go north. I guess
Correct.
it's because of the trade winds. They always go up north and then come back down. And it's just bizarre. You look down and see just nothing. And I think about the people. There was a TikTok creator who bought a boat. He's from Oregon. He bought a boat, decided he had some medical issues. So he decided, I'll buy a sailboat and sail to Hawaii. And I just thought, man, you are crazy.
Crazy.
And he put his whole video or his whole journey on, he became a huge sensation. He went from buying the boat, which he knew very little about, to the whole journey from Oregon to Hawaii, like daily journals. And it was just like, oh my God.
And he's sailing it. So you have to learn a lot.
Fast. And he was good at fixing stuff like that. He must have already been good at that because he had lots of tools, and he was every day going, okay, today I'm going to fix the sump pump because it broke. Today I'm going to fix the tiller. That was the first thing he broke. The tiller broke. He has a GPS and an auto tiller. So turn the GPS on, go to sleep, and it broke. And so it was like, are you going to call at what point are you going to call the Coast Guard? But then the next video is, good news, it's all fixed. Like, wow.
That takes some stones.
It does. It's not, thinking about flying over that space that he's going to be on, I think it was 2 weeks or maybe a little more. He did make it.
Oh, that's good.
End of story.
I guess he had to download his video. So
he made
it.
Right? But I just think of that vast expanse of ocean. It's like, wow. Yeah, first of all, the first week I would probably be sick. But
seasickness.
Yeah. And
water's intimidating.
It is. It is.
Big water like that, it's scary.
Yeah. I love the ocean, but I want to see the shore.
Sure. Yeah. Same way.
Yeah. Yeah. I love going in the ocean, which we don't really do here because it's freezing. Yeah.
That part of the ocean is, I wouldn't expect, you think the Pacific Ocean, nice and warm, and
right.
Nope. It's not. It's cold.
Until you get into Mexico, a ways into Mexico, because I lived in LA and I thought, all right, let's go to the beach. Let's go swimming. The first time I did that, I was like, what the?
Yeah,
only 10 degrees warmer than where I'm from.
That's right.
Cold. Yeah, it's cold.
And we went to LA area, Southern California, when I was about 15 or so on vacation, see some family. And I was ready to go to the beach, and I was ready for 90-degree days. Well, we went the first week of June. I'd never heard of June gloom in my life. So we get there, and it's like 68 degrees, and I'm going, somebody's been lying to me about California because this sucks. It's cloudy and dreary, and I'm like, so we kind of picked the wrong couple of weeks to go down there.
You got the fog and the smog. Yeah. I forgot about June gloom. June's one of the best months in Oregon, this part of Oregon.
Yeah.
It's usually.
I've never been up there. I'd love to go. There's great wine country up there. Beautiful area. And I'd love to go to Portland too, and just to see a new place in the world that I haven't seen yet.
There's a whole movie about the Oregon winning a wine competition. I think it was in the early 70s. Might be called Bottle Shock. That might be the name of it. Anyway, it's about this little winery that decides to enter a competition, worldwide competition that France has won for like always.
Yeah, it is Bottle Shock.
It is Bottle Shock.
Yeah,
it
is.
It's a thing to get in, and then they get
Michael
in.
Gergich, I think.
Yeah.
Michael Gergich was the winemaker, I should say. Yeah.
So
interesting story.
Yeah, it's pretty fun. So I'm going to try something I haven't done in a while. I have a questionnaire that I hardly ever use, but it's fun.
Ooh, okay.
Because you're from Texas, long way, you'll have different answers.
Okay, I'm excited.
So the first question is, this all comes from, whoops, I'm trying to change my view. There we go. Do you like turtles?
No, I don't dislike them.
Okay, good answer. I asked this because I go to Hawaii and there's all these sea turtles.
Okay.
There, so it's fun.
Now, those are cool. Yeah, the sea turtles are cool to see.
Yeah. Oh, ever thought about doing a podcast? That's a good. I know the answer, but maybe it slipped.
We had one. We actually had a podcast for a little bit. We called it The Gloat, Gloat. We were sitting around with three of us were sitting around happy hour one night, and we always come up with, okay, name, what are your top 5 most underrated quarterbacks of all time? Or just pick your random, hey, what's your 5 favorite actors ever? And one of the guys, one of my buddies said, we should start a podcast and just do nothing but lists. So I thought that was a good idea, and trying to think of a name, and that's when the term "the GOAT" was getting thrown around a lot, being greatest of all time.
Mm-hmm.
I said, let's do it, the GLOAT, the greatest list of all time. So that's what we started, and we had a lot of fun. And as I shared with you pre-show, we had to peel back a little bit because one of my co-hosts was asked to leave his job because of some of the things we had said on there. It's nothing terrible, just a lot of cursing, some guy stuff, vile guy stuff. And so we had to tone it back, and then it just wasn't as fun. It just didn't motivate us as much, so we kind of let it go. We were getting a little bit of traction. I mean, we may have 700, 800 or 1,000 people listen to some, then the others maybe not as interesting, and we only get a few hundred. So yes, I would love to do it again. Yeah, it's not terrible. Not terrible. I'd love to do it again. Since then, one of my friends has moved to another town, but technology has advanced a lot to where you don't, there's great software now, and a camera and a microphone, and then we keep threatening to start it up again.
You should do it. It sounds to me like a good concept. Oh, I think my mic is messing up. Let me check something in the background here.
Okay.
Everything's still good? No? Okay. It's just my ears. I think I'm going deaf.
Mine was messing up. It was really scratchy a few minutes ago, and
I didn't hear
my wire.
Oh,
good.
Okay.
I was hoping you did. It was in my earphones.
Oh, okay.
I think I got a faulty wire over here.
Do you believe in luck? There's a good one.
I do. Yeah, I do believe in. Sometimes it's just circumstances work out in your favor. Now, as they say, luck favors the prepared, as they say. So I do think that holds a lot of water. But yeah, I believe in just dumb luck.
Yeah, I think luck favors the prepared, but definitely, I believe in luck. This question's not. I don't know how valid this is anymore. Social media, good or bad?
I call it a social disease.
There you go.
And it just depends on who's utilizing it and for what. For your world and my world, it can be an incredible tool. There's no other more effective way to get the word out about if you're doing something that you want people to recognize or people to know about. There's not a more effective tool to use. But if you're using it for your own self-worth as a teenager or a kid, and you're living and dying by the like button, and you're looking at everybody else's reels or posts or their pages or whatever, and thinking that's their life. So those pages, they're a human highlight reel. It's a highlight reel of your life is all it is. It's not, you're not seeing everything. And I think it gives, especially young people, a really distorted view of what life is. And then they look inward and go, well, my life sucks. I do nothing like that. Well, if you take your top, 5 moments of this year and place them all on social media, they're going to look pretty damn good to other people too. So it can be a real social disease, in my opinion, to where, and some of the hate and some of the trolls and the awful, awful things people say to one another. There's just like anything, there's good and bad to it. I think it is an incredible tool if used correctly, but don't let it dictate your self-worth.
All of those are really good points. I think about how I would have survived junior high and high school with social media. And now, kids are really getting exposed to it a lot in grade school. And I had a hard time as it was. I was kind of a shy kid, kind of introverted, although I knew a lot of people. I just don't know how I would have made it through.
And some of the dumb shit I'd have done in high school on social media. My God. I'm glad I didn't have it.
That's true.
I
I did
have you
a lot
seen the
of things
document?
that, I probably wouldn't have. I probably would post these days.
Yeah, exactly. And become a superstar. I saw a documentary. It was on social media, and they had a lot of the guys ladies who are on the ground at Facebook and really truly started it. One of the guys that actually came up with the idea of the like button. I mean, that's how much on the ground floor these guys were. And they interviewed them through just a few episodes. And at the end, they asked them all a question. Do you have children? And, the one said yes. Do you allow your children on social media? And to a person, they said, absolutely not.
Good for them.
And these are the people that came up with it.
Good for them. And that's got to be hard to not.
It is.
It's on social media. That's got to be tough because my parents didn't let me watch television when we were really young. Even back then, they thought TV was too much for kids.
Yeah.
So it was, I think I was in 6th grade before we really had a television that they would let us watch. And they paid attention, and that was just TV.
Just TV, and they didn't even say damn or hell.
Right.
If somebody did, it was shocking. What's smut on TV?
They let us watch educational shows like Laugh-In.
It lets. You did get an education.
That was good. That was good stuff. And it's Mother.
You didn't realize you were getting it, but you were
exactly. No idea. If you don't know what Laugh-In is, Google it.
You won't regret it.
Do you have a favorite podcast that you listen to?
I don't listen to a ton of podcasts, I would say, since I started this writing journey. I have to figure out, am I a writer? Am I a reader? Am I listening to podcasts? What am I doing? I'll do it mostly when I'm on the road. If I'm going on a trip somewhere, I will tune in and listen to some interesting personalities that maybe I like Rogan. I do enjoy his. I don't agree with necessarily every one of his takes. I do like the fact that he is who he is and he says what he thinks and says what he feels. And if you don't like it, you know what you can do. You can tune out. I do, and I'm listening to a lot of self-publishing podcasts now for ticks. For I have plenty of those for tips and things of that nature. And then there's another podcast I like called No Limits Thriller Podcast. These guys they engulf thriller books and they will review them and interview the authors and things like that. So I'm kind of really hot on them right now. It's interesting, and they geek out like I do over, and you kind of find your little tribe, your tribe that you can all geek out over. And,
right.
Yeah, and maybe it doesn't mean anything to anybody else, or even would appeal to anybody else. But again, that's the beauty of a podcast. It's not like, hey, you paid for the equipment, you have the service. If people tune in to listen, awesome. If they don't, well, then maybe that's okay too,
That's okay too. And you don't have to have, you've got some pretty good equipment. I have some decent equipment. You don't have to have that to produce a podcast. It helps. It sounds better, but it
does sound better.
You can do it with less.
Yeah, for sure.
Next question is, you get any new furniture lately?
Matter of fact, I'm sitting at a desk that my son and I put together. The video showed the guy putting it together in 7 minutes.
Is that what you bought?
5.5 hours. 5.5 hours it took. Now, a lot of that was accessories and stuff like that, but It took me a good 2.5 just to get to his 7 minutes. And then the last hour or so, my son was twiddling his thumbs, and I found he's trying to ask me if he needed help, but he was basically just sitting there. I wouldn't let him look at his phone. He was playing with something on the floor. And he's 11. He's not like he's 2 years old. You know what I mean? So he was being a trooper. And I remember going back and helping my dad work on the car or something like that. It was the worst thing because all you were was a gopher. You sat there on the tire or something like that for 30 minutes, listen to your dad curse. And they say, hand me that 9/16. I'm like, okay, what's a 9/16? And I'm, so it was boring. And I kind of looked at him. I'm like, why don't you go play your don't you go play a video game for a little bit? He goes, are you sure?
Oh, that's awesome.
But yeah,
Nice.
we did good. I like the space, and I needed a bigger desk, and it was getting cluttered, so I needed a bigger one. And then my wife just bought 2 chairs for the bedroom. I'm not sure what for, but we needed chairs in the bedroom, and so she just bought some of those. Yeah, that's the new furniture we have.
I like that little aside. I'm not sure what for. I think a lot of us might like that idea.
I mean, it looks good. Yeah. Because she wanted it. That's what
I
it's for.
remember working. It's amazing that I liked working on cars because I remember that same experience watching my dad fix cars. It was really boring, but then I wanted to wrench on cars as soon as I got one. Of course, it was a fast car, so that helped.
Yeah, they get a little faster and a little faster. And there's nothing to me like and that's what I told my son the other day. When we finished, I said, look, buddy, I know this wasn't very exciting. I get it. But every time you walk in and look at this desk, you're going to know we did that.
Yeah.
There's a feeling of accomplishment when you do something with your hands. And I'm not a very handy person. Maybe that's why I get a little more sense of accomplishment from it. That's why I mow my own lawn. I like looking out on it and going, if it looks bad, it's my fault. If it looks good, man, good job. You did something good there, and you've accomplished something that's maybe remedial. That's okay. You've accomplished something. You use your own hands to do it. So it was a fun little experience for us. And there's just no feeling you can get like completing a project on your own.
Was it IKEA?
It was not IKEA. It is Uplift.
Uplift. Okay, I've heard it.
Uplift.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can. I have a little button, and I can raise the desk up and down. I've used it twice. Only I use it when I'm raising up so I can get my chair all the way under when I'm done with the day, and so it looks nice and neat. When I come back, I saw it raised and lowered about that much each day. That's kind of handy.
It is. It is. What's the last thing you bought online? Maybe it was that. I don't know. It could be the same.
No. What did I buy? Bought iPhone chargers. I had lost. I don't know how. I probably had 100 iPhone chargers around the house or in my car or something at one point. I couldn't find one of them, so I bought 3 new iPhone chargers, all different lengths. Pretty proud.
Now you've got them.
Yeah, I've got them.
You got to have those chargers. Oh, have you? This is a great question for you. Have you broken any laws lately?
No, not at all. I mean, I didn't have one too many. Well, not one too many. I didn't have a few beers yesterday and drive home from the golf course. I did not do that.
Okay. There you go. I'm glad to know. Glad to know it. But in Texas,
next question.
Isn't it illegal to not do that?
It is. It's actually illegal to drive sober.
That's what I thought. That's what I've heard.
Only after golfing.
I've heard things about Texas. Well, I don't know if this question works here. Ever want to do something else for a living? So it does work. I mean, is your dream to be an author and have that be enough?
I think so. I've kind of found that I've got about 5 to 7 years in me per project. I've kind of learned that about myself. I'll get hot and heavy on something and totally engulf myself in it. And then I kind of will, I'm not going to say burn out. I will start needing something different. I need a clean slate to build, right? And to build off of, or I need a totally new project or someone to tell me that, no, you can't, that can't be done. Like, well, by God, I'm going to figure out if it can or can't. I'm not going to take your word for it. So right now, I could be very, very content if I'm successful enough in doing so, and I still have a company and I'm still a lawyer. And so I'm certainly not to the point to where I can switch gears. So I definitely have to do that. But as I hopefully continue this transition, I think I would be very content, very happy, and very fulfilled letting this ride me into the sunset.
Oh, my iPhone's running out of battery, but not for a while. It's got
okay, good.
It's got a really
one of those chargers that I ordered.
I know. I use my iPhone for my camera, and it kind of,
Okay.
it kind of pisses me off still. I've said this on many podcasts, but I've got a couple different kind of cameras, and the iPhone works best, and that's what pisses me off.
I get it.
You know, I wish there was a camera that was made to go up on your computer that would work this good, but anyway.
Yeah, I bought I don't even know what it is. It's, it's not even an expensive camera, 50, 60 bucks or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I hope it does a good job. But then I go, why wouldn't I just use my iPhone for this? I'm like, no, you're not supposed to do that. You got to have a good camera, and you are an experienced podcaster and an experienced engineer, and
this looks so much better than my than my webcams. It's just anyway, because it adjusts itself so well. I think. I mean, I do use lights, but it adjusts itself so well. And I like to play around with the background. I've got a couple different bookshelves here. Let's see, there's another there. That's
wow,
or like the thriller.
Quick remodeler. Well, what you see behind me is all natural. That's actually, as I haven't graduated to that. I tried a filter one time, and it made me look like the outside was blurry and kind of
you have to
blended me together with the back.
Yeah,
so.
I have an actual blue screen back there, so that helps.
Oh,
it's a sheet green, but if you try and use their filter, then it'll look really silly.
I looked like an idiot.
Do you believe in talent? That's almost a follow-up question to do you believe in luck, sort of?
I do believe there's people who have a natural proclivity or natural ability to do things that others can't. I was never going to be a professional athlete. No matter how hard I tried, I wasn't physically talented enough.
There you go. This is where I run into a problem with you can do anything you want. You can't.
That's not true.
If you're Michael Jordan. I mean,
that's right.
Yeah.
And I've said that to a lot of people. That's always fun to say. You can be anything you want to be. I'm never going to be a center in the NBA. I'm 5'10".
Yeah, exactly.
I'm never going to be a football player. I'm 5'10", 175, and I run a 5'6", 40 or something like that. No, there's things I'm never going to be able to do. I was a decent baseball player. I couldn't hit a curveball. No matter how hard I tried, no matter how much I practiced, I didn't have the talent. There's certain things I can't play a musical instrument to save my life. It makes no sense to me. If I practiced it, maybe that's one thing. Maybe I'm never going to compose. Certain things I think you're naturally wired for, physically or mentally. Other things you're not. And the things you are, now, to put the hard work into it, that's where your talents are really going to shine. Once you do put the hard work, I'll marry that up with your talents. But I absolutely believe in talent.
Well, and I think that's a talent also, like the amount of work you can put into something. Because I was a drummer for over 30 years, and I think I've got pretty darn good at it. I only made a living in it for short periods, but the drummers that could practice 10 hours a day for years at a time, I think that's a talent. I mean, they already had something, but then they were able to, it's either a talent or it's, what's that called where you can't leave something alone? Perfectionism.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I mean,
and that could be part of it as well.
Yeah. I think that's part of talent. I think the athlete part. I also think part of athletic talent is the ability to take pain for most things. Like I could have played football in high school, but I didn't like pain, and there was you cannot play football and not be hurt. I don't care what you're. I mean, if you're on the field, you're going to
be in pain.
You're going to be in pain. Every week. I
hear athletes say, I've heard it on a show or whatever. Are you hurt or are you injured?
Yeah, exactly.
Two different things.
Well, because if
you're hurt, you're all going to be hurt.
Right.
But are you injured? That's different.
Because I loved weightlifting, and if you if you don't feel that the next day, then you haven't really done anything. And so that I liked. But
me too.
The pain of slamming into each other for hours on end and hard
big men
to walk.
Who are really good at it.
Who are good at it, and much bigger than myself. I was 155 pounds in high school. So it wasn't wasn't so much for
Probably don't need to be middle linebacker.
Yeah, not so much. Or even, well, the quarterbacks are the talented ones because they're the ones. I realized this watching, I was watching something about Joe Montana, and they were showing how every play he gets just slammed.
Mm-hmm.
Whether he gets rid of the ball or not, he just gets slammed. And he was not a huge guy.
No, it's not very big at all.
Wow. That's
Get back up, though.
Yeah, jump back.
Knowing it's going to happen again.
Do it again. Right. Knowing. Yeah. And knowing if you hold that, if you wait for the guy to open, it's going to hurt more. That's the amazing thing.
Going to hurt more, that's right.
It's going to hurt more if you wait till you're supposed to.
That's why they get the paychecks they get, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's why we watch them on TV.
And the last question for the day, this is a big one or not. Do you think there's something after this?
Yeah. I'm assuming you're meaning life.
Yeah, I didn't mean another podcast.
Yeah, I do. I strongly believe that. I have a strong Christian faith. I don't always act like it, but I certainly do. Not saying you have to be Christian to believe in another life by any means, but I have caught myself before in those moments going like, what if this is all a big trick? What if somebody just wrote a whole book and people just bought it and believe it for generations? And then you flush that, and that's where faith comes in. That's where you just believe.
Right.
So,
right.
Yeah. And it's comforting. I've lost loved ones. I lost a wife. I lost a sister, lost a father. It's very comforting to feel that and to believe that.
Yeah.
That it's not just finality. And I believe we will be together again someday. Now, I don't know what that's going to look like. I don't know what it's going to be. I don't know anything about it. I just have faith that it's going to be greater than we could have ever fathomed in our earthly minds.
I have listened to and even had someone who studies near-death experiences. And so it's always fascinating to me. A lot of people have the same stories, but one of the big things is, they can't really describe it. That's always, always the kind of the key thing. It's like, yeah, there was this place and it was like this and like this, but it's not something I can explain. And yeah, I've always thought, well, it makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. There's a pattern there and everybody's saying the same. Yeah.
Yeah. There's a pattern there. Well, this has been great. Thank you so much for
Thank you.
Doing the final questionnaire. I got to do that more often. That is fast.
That was enjoyable. I like that.
Excellent. Well, thanks so much for coming on. I'm going to do this thing. Were You Still Talking? Yeah, that's what you've been listening to. This has been Were You Still Talking with Brad Elder. It's all one word on his name there. Brad Elder. Brad Elder. He is an author. He's a lawyer, and he's written his first book. It'll all be in the show notes. Definitely check it out. Go buy one. Do a review on Amazon. We talked about that too. But we got a little off subject here, but it was really enjoyable. Loved talking to you and hearing all your different stories.
Well, thank you, Joel, very much for having me. I really enjoyed this.
All right. Take care. And as I always say, be good to each other and be good to yourself. That was the one. All right. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Oh, and you can leave something on a review for this podcast too, not just books.
Absolutely. I review every one that I've done.
Oh, nice.
I think I owe it to the host for being kind enough to have me, because I know you guys.
It's appreciated. It is always appreciated.
You guys rely on that as well.
Yeah. Apparently, that's what they're telling me. It's the word.
And who the hell are they anyway?
Who I know.